The reverence of the sun and its cultural and philosophical significance is universal throughout all the ancient traditions of the human race. And today, we will explore the deeper meanings of the sun in these ancient traditions of Europe and India, and how the celebration of the sun binds our cultures together. Through their spiritual practices, symbols, and festivals, the sun represents the cycle of life, the nature of life, and the philosophies of space and time.
Երկներ երկիր, երկներ երկիր, երկներ և ծոմ ծիրանին, և իբոցոյն վազեր, խարտյաշ պատանեկիկ, խարտյաշ պատանեկիկ, խարտյաշ պատանեկիկ, ելավ արեք, եղավ արև, հարնեց մանուկ ծերունի, մանչնի ծնեունի, հավերժաշունչ եղեգնի, ընդեղեգան փող լույս ելանի, ընդեղեգան փող ջիջ ելանի, և առ երկին ձայնի, նոր սկիզբ ժամանակի, սկիզբ նոր ժամանակի, հայի ժամանակի.
Romuva originates from the Baltic religious tradition, which is comprised of religious heritage of the Lithuanians, Latvians, and Prussians. The formation of this common Baltic spiritual heritage began in the very distant Indo-European past. Baltic culture appeared as distinct in the 2nd millennium BCE. The community of Ramova was founded in 1967, but it was only in the independent Lithuania that the communities of Romuva gained official recognition as religious communities. The ancient Baltic religion is a living entity of spiritual experiences and knowledge, which is based on Baltic beliefs and ethnic folkloric traditions.
Baltic culture is heavily based on the cult of the sun. All the main festivals are related to the movement of the sun in the cycle of the year, and the most pronounced is a certain secret times. The secret times were during the day, at sunrise and sunset. At sunrise, the most important works were performed and hikes embarked. People tried to finish their work as soon as the sun set, in fear that they would be harmed by evil spirit. The sacral time of the year was the beginning and the end of the year. More precisely, the winter solstice and the equinox of spring and autumn. Another very important holiday associated with sun worshipping is Rasos, the dawn. This is the period when the day is the longest in the year. In addition to the sun festivities in our culture, there are other litigating signs of sun worshipping, such as those woven in clothes and signs carved in stones, jewelry, amulets, roof pillars. And finally, many tales, myths, and songs about the sun have survived in our culture. Now you will hear the archaic Lithuanian song prayer to the sun.
Kas tarateka paradvarelį saularė duolėlas, kas tarateka per dvarelį saularė duolėlas, kas tarateka per dvarelį saularė duolėlas, tarnalas sekėdamas saularė.
The most important numbers associated with the sun are 7 and 9. It was believed that when 9 times the sun sets, 10 in the morning, the wishes will be fulfilled. This is often seen and heard in fairy tales. The goddess Sun in ancient Lithuanian mythology was the wife of the moon, sometimes sister. All stars, Earth, Daw, Western, Indraya, Vaivora, Ziedre, Zelia, were daughters. There are various myths about the sun, but sun was first mentioned in the chronocycle of Malala. It is mentioned there that the sun is forged by the mythical blacksmith Taievelis, and he casts it on the sky. Because of this myth, it is disputed whether the sun can be considered a goddess when it is only forged. Eventually, the sun began to be called a deity, the hottest guardian. She is a beauty with long golden hair, wearing a golden clothes, traveling through the sky in a chariot harvested by her brothers, black evening and white day horses. In addition, she is also a woman, spinning, washing, weaving, caring for her daughters, little stars, taking care of her husband and the world. The image of the sun as a mother takes on the highest form of love, so the sun was worshipped the most of all the celestial luminaries. Lithuanians love the goddess Saule very much, revered and said prayers to her.
Hello all, I am Shira and I am the Vision Keeper for Shamanic Association of Norway. The Sami people, as I am a part of, is the indigenous people of Norway, Sweden, Finland and Russia, an area called Sapmi. In our tradition, Beivi is the sun goddess, but as with most of our deities, there is a duality and Beivi is also sometimes depicted as a god. Beivi has a son and a daughter, and the son traveled to the land of the giants and found his wife there. Together they had 3 children, the hunters. You can see them as the belt of Orion on the night sky. The Sami people are descendants from them, and Beivi's daughter is the one who gave us the reindeer. She brought it down from heaven, from the upper world, to us on one of the rays of the sun. Here in the Arctic the sun doesn't come up over the horizon in wintertime, so around winter solstice we make a sacrifice to her so that she can come back. Before they sacrifice the white female reindeer, today we sacrifice meat, butter and reindeer broth that is left over from the winter solstice moon ceremony. When the sun comes back up in the end of February, we sacrifice butter that we smear on doorposts, trees or even out our walls, so that she can nourish herself and gain strength to go high up in the sky. We call this Beivi Festival or Sun Festival. Beivi is one of the most important goddesses because she brings fertility to plants, animals and humans and makes everything grow. She will also heal those who lost their insanity due to the lack of light in the winter time. At summer solstice, we again honor her in a solstice ceremony where we make rings out of branches in her name, and you can also eat butter as a sacred meal. The daughter of the sun taught people how to decorate their clothes with pearls, interesting colors, and spectacular patterns. She showed them pictures of the stars, circles, birds, footsteps, and a beautiful stone sparkling in the sun. She moved from hut to hut, singing and dancing and telling stories. She taught the people of the village how to sing hunting jokes, sea songs, and sun melodies.
The Sun Ritual. I greet you, sun. I greet you, day. I greet you, daughters and sons of the day, and new and old. Turn against us your smiley and shiny eyes. Greet you, moon. I greet you, night. I salute the daughters of the night and the sons of the night, and new and old. Turn your eyes, your smiley and shiny eyes against us. I greet you, Yme. I greet you and send your bow smiley eyes of the moon and the sun towards us and give us health in our own energy worlds, health for integrity, health for more healing, and health for more gatherings. I salute the day, daughters of the day and sons of the day, and new and old. I salute daughters of the night and sons of the night, and new and old. Turn against us your smiley and shiny eyes of happiness.
In the Hindu Dharma, the sun is seen as the 12 Adityas who form the space and time, or Dhyo, in which we see the perceptible world. A giver of knowledge and divinity, the Hindu astrology views sun as the significator of the soul. On the ritualistic side, to start the worship of sun in Hindu Dharma, bathing is foremost important as it purifies your body, soul and mind. If you are willing to do fasting, it shall begin with the sunrise of the day and end on the second day's sunrise. Before starting Surya Puja, worshipping of Ganpati is mandatory. In the modern and the cultural context, one of the most popular ways of sun worship is the Surya Namaskar, or the salutation of the sun. This is a yogic practice of doing 12 gracefully linked asanas, which finds its origin in the Hatha Yoga traditions.
सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्यं सर्वपापप्रणाशनं चिन्ताशोकप्रशमनम् आयुर्वर्धनमुत्तमम्.
Here are a few examples that show the temples built in India to worship the sun as the deity.
येष देवासुरगणान् लोकान् पाति गभस्तिभिः येष ब्रह्मा च विष्णु च शिवस्कन्द प्रजापतिः महेन्द्रो धनदकालो यमः सोमोऽध्यपाम्पतिः पितरो वसवसाध्या यश्विनो मरुतो मनुः वायुर्वह्नि प्रजा प्राण ऋतुकर्ता प्रभाकरः आदित्यः सविता सूर्य खगपूषा गभस्तिमान् सुवर्णसदृशो भानु हिरण्यरेता दिवाकरः हरिदश्वः सहस्रार्चिः सप्त सप्तिर्मरीचिमान् तिमिरोन्मन्थन शम्भुस्त्वष्टा मार्ताण्ड अंशुमान् हिरण्यगर्भः शिशिर स्तपनो भास्करो रविः अग्निगर्भोदिते पुत्रः शङ्खशिशिरनाशनः व्योमनाथस्तमो भेदी ऋग्यजुस्सामपारगः घनवृष्टिरपां मित्रो विद्यवीथि प्लवङ्गमः आतपी मण्डली मृत्युः पिङ्गल सर्वतापनः कविर्विश्वो महातेजा रक्त सर्वभवोद्भवः नक्षत्रग्रहताराणामधिपो विश्वभावनः तेजसामपि तेजस्वी द्वादशात्मन्नमोऽस्तु ते नमः पूर्वाय गिरये पश्चिमायाद्रये नमः ज्योतिर्गणानां पतये दीनाधिपतये नमः जयाय जयभद्राय हर्यश्वाय नमो नमः नमो नमः सहस्रांशो आदित्याय नमो नमः नम उग्राय वीराय सारंगाय नमो नमः नमः पद्मप्रबोधाय मार्ताण्डाय नमो नमः ब्रह्मेशानच्युतेशाय सूर्याय दित्यवर्चसे भास्वते सर्वभक्षाय रौद्राय विपुषे नमः
Graj, słońce, graj, otóż tu masz swoje słońce ta. Graj, słońce, graj, otóż tu masz swoje słońce ta.
Wiedzę na temat znaczenia słońca w kulturze Słowian czerpać można zarówno ze wczesnośredniowiecznych informacji kronikarskich, jak i z bogato zachowanej do początku XX wieku tradycji ludowej. W wierzeniach słowiańskich słońce związane jest z aktywną sferą kosmosu, z mocami ładu, porządku i płodności. Bóg Słońce, dać Bóg, na wczesnośredniowiecznej Rusi patronował władcom i wojownikom. W zachowanych wątkach mitologicznych Bóg Słońce został na początku świata wykuty przez Swaroga, boskiego kowala, stwórcę i rzucony na niebo jako złota tarcza. Słońce nazywano niekiedy Bożym Okiem, co wiązało się z ludowymi wierzeniami na temat nieba jako przestrzeni ognistej. Znany był mit o rokrocznym odradzaniu się Słońca, co wiązało się z zimową obrzędowością kolędniczą. Wierzono, że wówczas Słońce, Księżyc i gwiazdy zstępują z nieba, dlatego w koliadkach, pieśniach obrzędowych tego okresu są one zapraszane przez gospodarzy na rytualne uczty.
Krasna zorzo, rozstać się z księżycem, spotkać się na niebie z jasnem słońca licem. Świeć, świeć słoneczko, dam ci jajeczko.
Świeć, świeć słoneczko, dam ci jajeczko.
Jak kureczka zniesie na dębowym lesie.
Jak kureczka zniesie na dębowym lesie.
Weźmij je do raju,
Weźmij je do raju.
Świeć, świeć słoneczko, dam ci jajeczko.
Świeć, świeć słoneczko, dam ci jajeczko.
Jak kureczka zniesie na dębowym lesie.
Jak kureczka zniesie na dębowym lesie.
Weźmij je do raju,
Weźmij je do raju.
Następnym i największym świętem słońca na dawnej Słowiańszczyźnie była i jest noc kupały, czyli letnie przesilenie. Wierzono, że wówczas słońce gra, tańczy i bawi się z świętującymi najdłuższy dzień w roku ludźmi.
Zachodź, zachodź, słoneczko.
Zachodź, zachodź, słoneczko.
Dzienny obieg słońca po niebie wiązano z mitem na temat zalotów słońca i księżyca do bogini wieczornej zorzy lub gwiazdy wieczornej. Mit ten wiązał się z rytuałami wodzenia słońca, w ramach których boskie słońce witano o poranku i żegnano wieczorem, pieśniami, ofiarami i korowodami.
A u Chełmki na góreńce, tam kąpało się słonejko, tam kąpało się słonejko, dwa dołęki wody miało. A u Chełmki na góreńce, tam kąpało się słonejko, tam kąpało się słonejko, dwa dołęki wody miało. A u Chełmki na góreńce, tam kąpało się słonejko, tam kąpało się słonejko, dwa dołęki wody miało. A u Chełmki na góreńce, tam kąpało się słonejko, tam kąpało się słonejko, dwa dołęki wody miało. A u Chełmki na góreńce, tam kąpało się słonejko, tam kąpało się słonejko, dwa dołęki wody miało. A u Chełmki na góreńce, tam kąpało się słonejko, tam kąpało się słonejko, dwa dołęki wody miało. A u Chełmki na góreńce, tam kąpało się słonejko, tam kąpało się słonejko, dwa dołęki wody.
The continuation of the Latvian religion since pre-Christian times, called Devturība, registered as the Umbrella Religious Union, the Latvia's Devturu Sadraudze in 1929, unites and represents Devturi fellows in relationship to the state and organizations, both in Latvia and abroad. Along Devas as the masculine celestial deity, its counterpart is Mara, the Ketonic deity. The worship of the sun, also called Saule, the temporal deity, is connected with the deity of fate, Laima. This marks pivotal significance in most Devturi rituals by using an open flame and rendering offerings to it. The evenly distributed annual recurring rituals are celebrated 8 times a solar year, which are depicted by the 8-petaled symbol of Saule as one of the representative Latvian ornaments of the Devturība. The video is presented by Eimer Burke, a chosen chief of the Order of the Bard, Oates, and Druids. Druidry is nature spirituality and practice, which draws upon the inspiration of ancient Druids, Celtic mythology, and folklore, whose origins come from the pre-Christian era. Eimer is going to talk about how Druids celebrate the sun through the festival of the Wheel of the Year.
Hi there, Emer Burke here from the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids, and I'd like to talk to you about how Druids honour the sun. As Druids, we look to the landscape and the seasons as a metaphor for our lives. And we have an inner life and the outer landscape. And when our inner landscape and the outer landscape are in sync, then we have balance and harmony in our lives. And so we do this by following the eightfold wheel of the year, where we have a ritual to mark each point of the wheel. And this eightfold wheel honours the cycle of life, death and rebirth. And I'll start with Samhain, which in Ireland means the month of November. And it is an old Irish word meaning the end of summer, which marks the beginning of winter, when the days are getting shorter and the nights are longer. And this is the time of letting go of what we no longer need. It's a time of drawing in. It's a time of honouring the ancestors. It's also the time when the veil is thinnest between this world and the other world, where we honour the Cailleach, the triple goddess in her crone form. And then we come to Grianstad an Gira, Alban Arthur, or the winter solstice, to the shortest day of the year and the longest night, when the sun is at its lowest point in the sky. And this is the time when we mourn what has gone. And we wait in darkness, stillness and restriction, waiting for the sun to be reborn and for the light to return. And our ancestors marked this time with their ancient monuments like Newgrange and Knockrow here in Ireland, where the sun enters through a gateway or a light box into the womb of the mother so that the sun can be reborn. And after this point, the days gradually become longer and the nights shorter. And then we come to Imbolc in February, which means ewes milk or in the belly. And this is when the first green shoots begin to peep up from the dark earth, bringing with them hope for the year to come. And this is the time of new light, which is represented by the arrival of the snowdrop. Here we honour Bridget, the goddess, in her maiden form. This is the time when the lambs are born and we are aware of the growing power of the sun. And then we come to Connacht an Ari, Alban Eiler, or the spring equinox. And this is the time when night and day are of equal length. This is a time of balance. It's a time when the farmers are planting their seeds in the landscape. But we too plant our own inner seeds. Seeds of what it is we'd like to achieve in the year to come. And then, after this point, the days become longer than the nights. And with the growing power of the sun comes Bealtaine, which in Irish means the month of May, or Beltane as it's known in Britain, meaning bright fire, after the god Bel, god of fire and light. And it's at this time that everything in the landscape is flourishing and abundant, and nature is alive with sexual energy and fecundity. And we honour the union of the masculine and feminine principles within us, regardless of gender or sexual orientation. And with the growing days, we are aware of that regenerative energy within ourselves. And then we come to Grianstad an Tauri, Alban Hevin, or the summer solstice, when we have the longest day and the shortest night, and when the sun reaches its highest point in the sky. And we recognise the paradox that when the sun is at its most powerful, reaching that zenith, it too marks its decline when the days become gradually shorter and the nights longer. And then we come to Lunasa, which in Ireland is the month of August, or Lammas as it's known in Britain. And this is where we celebrate our early harvest, and where we recognise that something needs to die in order for life to continue, where we cut the corn and the wheat to produce seed, to produce food so that we may live. The sun is still in the sky, and the plants and the crops continue to flourish and to ripen. And then we come to Connacht an Ór, Alban Elfed, or the autumn equinox, when the crops are being harvested in the landscape. Night and day are once again of equal length, but we too reflect on our inner harvest. What has nurtured and supported us, our lives, our minds, our bodies, our spirits, our minds in the past year. And after this point, the days become shorter than the nights. And then we head off into Samhain again. So that marks the cycle of life, death, and rebirth, and the solar cycle. Thank you.
With a recorded history of more than 4,000 years, Armenia is home to one of the world's oldest civilizations. Some of the world's oldest things were found in Armenia. The world's oldest leather shoe, 5,500 years old. A sky observatory, 7,500 years old. Depictions of agriculture, again 7,500 years old. And winemaking facility, 6,100 years old. All were found within the territory of Armenia. Although Armenia adopted Christianity in 301 AD, sun worship always remained in the Armenian culture. In 1991, after the collapse of the Soviet Union, the Armenian ancient religion was revived. Organization called the Sons of the Sun was created, which started conducting ancient Armenian religious festivals in the Sun Temple from 1st century AD in Garni. The main gods of the Armenian pantheon are god creator Ara and his wife and mother goddess Anahit, along with Vahagan, god of fire, conqueror of dragons, Astakik, goddess of love and the beloved of Vahagan, Tir, the messenger of Ara, guide of souls to the underworld, fortune teller, interpreter of dreams, etc.
Երկներ երկիր, երկներ երկիր, երկներ եւ ծոմ ծիրանին,
ծնումի խորուրդ անցկալի, պտղաբերումի մի ամբողջ աշխարհ, գութի խնկարկում, սիրո մեղեդի, կարոտի խորան, երջանկության բույս։ Դու, Աստվածամայր ամեն երկնքի, ամեն ծնունդի, ամեն քնքշության։
Եվ ի բոցոյն վազեր, խարտյաշ պատանեկիկ, խարտյաշ պատանեկիկ, խարտյաշ պատանեկիկ, նա հուրեր ուներ, ապա թե բոց ուներ մորուս, և աչքում էին արեգախում, նա հուրեր ուներ, ապա թե բոց ուներ մորուս, և աչքում էին արեգախում։ Haverjashunch yeregni Diregan por lui selani Diregan por gigelani Yevar yergin zaini Nor skizb jamanaki Skizb nor jamanaki Hai jamanaki Nachzituni Voki ushvituni palun Yevadi serun vagnazun Nachzituni Voki ushvituni palun Yevadi serun vagnazun Yevadi serun vagnazun
Tradity is an association founded in 1993 in Flanders, the Dutch-speaking part of Belgium. They are dedicated to the study of the traditional spiritual movements of Northwest Europe and to the pagan experience in their regions in particular. They are a group of like-minded people who strive to reconnect with the essence of their ancestral religion and to experience this essence in the contemporary world. This video shows the celebration of the spring equinox, also called Ostara or Usteren. They hold a procession with joyfully decorated branches bearing fertility symbols like eggs, as well as symbols of the sun like sun crosses and roosters made of bread. The main ritual at this time of the year revolves around the May tree. The tree or the pole gets decorated with leaves, flowers and colorful ribbons. Placed at the top is a rooster and a sun wheel. This tree is a representation of the cosmic tree, Yggdrasil. As the sun brings fertility back to the earth in spring, they ritually walk and dance around the May tree, imitating the movement of the sun to stimulate the fertility of the earth. With music, offerings, honey mead and poems, they honor both the sun and the earth. The rooster at the top of the tree, which is usually made out of bread or wood, symbolizes the sun. Later, during midsummer, this rooster is shot off the tree in a ritual game. For the sun has reached its highest point and cannot and should not rise any further. The sun has to die in order to be reborn during midwinter.
Mit svina blancas verdas